Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and for those of you that are new, my name is Priscilla. I am a military spouse, and me and my husband have two children together. They are twin boys, Ezekiel and Daniel. I just kind of wanted to give like a little mini intro about me, just so you guys can, again, just get to know me a little bit more before I start talking about my experience just being a young military spouse and what was it like to get married at 18. And just, I guess, more so what I've learned over the past 6 years of doing this, because it is not a life for everyone, but I'm really thankful for the military. So let's just jump right into the video. So as always, I always have just a little bit of notes, just so I can stay on topic, because I am known for talking a lot, and I know all y'all don't want to hear all that, so I'm just gonna try to stick to what I want to talk to. So like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, my husband is Air Force, or if I didn't mention it, he's Air Force. And we have been in the Air Force for 6 years now, or more so, he's been in the Air Force for 6 years. I've just been here living my life with him. But before we even get into all that, I just want to give you a little background. So we were high school sweethearts. We dated my entire high school career. He was a grade ahead of me, so obviously he graduated 1 year before me, and I was still in school. Started to look into the Air Force. So like I said, he was doing that pretty much my entire senior year, and then towards the end of my senior year, obviously we're getting ready to graduate, and he had actually gotten his like job. He signed up for the job, signed the contract for it. He also had gotten his ship date, which I think was like June 4th of 2013. Yeah, it was June 4th he left for basic. And I was just getting ready to graduate high school. I think it was like May 23rd. It was somewhere around that time. But I just remember that I graduated pretty much a week and a half before he left for basic training. So naturally questions come up between us of, you know, what are we gonna do after he gets out of basic training? Where are we gonna get married? Like, just a lot of those things. And for me, I personally wasn't ready for marriage, and I had actually talked with Brendan about that. I think it was like his last week in there. Me and him were just hanging out for the night, and I remember we were in my car talking, and I just told him, like, you know, I love you, but I don't think I'm ready to get married. And he respected that. He just was more so, I think we were both just afraid that, well, what if we end up breaking up because I didn't get married? You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like as an 18-year-old, that was just a lot to think about, and it was really honestly stressing me out, because here I am, I've been dating this dude for 4 years now. We were a very serious relationship. He was my first boyfriend, and I mean, 4 years is a long time, and you just don't want to like throw all that away. But also at the same time, I had my own plans. I was already enrolled to start cosmetology school that September, and I had a job. I had bought and paid off my car, you know what I mean? Like, I had a lot going for me. Like, if I were to have stayed back home, you know what I mean? So I just wasn't, it wasn't that I didn't want to be with him forever. I just wasn't ready to like leave the life that I was already planning for myself, you know what I mean? So that night, you know, there were a few tears shed between the both of us, just because we were just not sure where we were going to be by the end of summer when he had graduated basic training. So we just kind of left it as, well, we're together right now. Let's just see how we feel at the end of this summer, and we'll see if we could do long distance relationship. Like, when you're 18, you're just so young, you know what I mean? But so that was that. But obviously, you know, he left for basic, like I said, and naturally I missed him a lot. And just those 2.5 months that he was gone, it made me realize, like, I don't think I want to be here in Colorado without him. So I think maybe I needed that to see kind of what it's like to be without him, and obviously I didn't like it. I was like, no. I didn't really have anyone to talk to back then. Like, you know, my friends were not in like a serious relationship, and I don't know, I just felt like they just couldn't understand where I was coming from, and I felt like everyone would probably have like tell me the same answer as like, no, don't get married, you're too young. And obviously, like, it's a little cringe to like talk about that with my mom and dad, so I just kind of kept it to myself. Couldn't talk about it with Brandon because he was already at this point gone in a way, and you can't write all that through letters. So we did end up talking about it when he did graduate basic training. You know, you get to hang out with them, so we just got some alone time and really talked about it. And by the end of that conversation, I didn't necessarily have like a ring on my finger. I didn't get proposed to, but we just kind of made a decision, okay, I think we're gonna get married. So I had to go home at that point and break the news to my parents, which wasn't necessarily scary because my parents aren't like crazy people, but it is kind of scary to like tell your mom and dad, like, I think I'm gonna get married and there's a possibility I might move out of Colorado this year. But my mom, she just kind of told me she wasn't surprised that I was talking to her about this. She actually told me she was expecting it, and I was just like, well, you're the only one, because I was not expecting on getting married. But she was supportive. She just kind of told me, obviously, you know, you need to talk to your dad about this too. So later that day, I remember my dad came home, we were talking about it, and my dad didn't get mad. He just was more so like questioning me. Like I remember him just saying like, what are you thinking? You're supposed to start school in a couple months, and you have, you know, like I mentioned, you have your car, you have a job, like you're just gonna like leave all that. And you know, he was starting to make me think again. And I remember, as always, like I cried and I just was telling him like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I just know like I don't want to be without him. Like, it sounds so dramatic, but my mom just kind of had to tell my dad, well, it's like, I remember she asked him, well, do you want to see her with someone else? And my dad sat there for a minute and he just said, no, I don't. So after we had like that family meeting, I walked away from that conversation with my parents saying like, you know, if you're gonna get married, we'll support you. But I know, looking back, like, you know, they did want me to go to school, as every parent does, and I think they were just worried that I was really young, because I mean, I was a baby. I could see where they were coming from, but nonetheless, my parents still supported me through all that. So just make sure, if you are thinking about getting married, that you do have that support system, because it is a huge decision to make. But you need to take that serious, because you are promising your life with someone, and especially with the military, you're promising to go all over the place, all over the world with that person. So you just need to kind of be prepared for that, because it's a lot to think about. I definitely don't regret getting married that young, but that's not to say that that was really easy for us, because also after we had gotten married, literally just a few weeks after, Brennan got orders to Japan. So obviously that's like, it's super exciting. Like, you know, you're like, oh my God, like I'm gonna go live in Japan, and it's just a whole new world for me. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, I was super excited and I really didn't know what to expect at all. It was definitely a culture shock, like, for sure. So going on with that, I can definitely say like I was not emotionally and mentally ready for the changes that were coming my way that year, and it slapped me in the face really hard. So I just say, if you are going overseas for your first base and you're used to just only being with your family, you need to prepare yourself to be lonely, because it is a really lonely life, especially when you first get married and you move away from your hometown or your home state. Like, you're very, very lonely. And I just remember my first like 8 months to a year living in Japan, I was extremely depressed. I don't know how else to explain it, but I was just not myself anymore. I wasn't like bubbly, happy Priscilla, and it had nothing really to do with Brandon. It was just more me. And if I'm being honest, I don't mean this to come off like harsh or selfish, but looking back, I feel like young Priscilla, like 18 to 19-year-old Priscilla, she was thinking, you just walked away from school, you left, you know, your car, your job, you left all your friends and family just to come be Brandon's wife. Because that's what I felt like for a really long time. Like, I'm just Brandon's wife. And that was kind of hard to accept for a while. And I think I was upset with myself. And it wasn't so much being upset like, oh, I got married. It was just more so like, I wish I had done something for myself before I just became Brandon's wife. Because you do feel like that for a while. I definitely feel like I lost my identity. Like, it sounds so dramatic, but that's really just how I felt back then. I just wasn't Priscilla. I was just his wife in Japan. And on top of that, you know, when you're overseas, you're, you know, living with a lot of people that are obviously in the same boat as you. Their husband or spouses in the military, and we're there for them. And it just kind of sucked, because you would think when you're living on a military base, like, you know, you're gonna make friends right away and people are gonna be super friendly and like welcoming to you. And no, that's not the case at all. I know I know everyone's experience is like so different, but this again was just my experience. My neighbors around me weren't that friendly. I couldn't really talk to people. I was friends with a few people in my building, which I love them to death. I'm still like friends with them on social media, but it wasn't like I met them right away. Like they moved in a year and a half to like, yeah, like almost a year and a half from me living there. So it's not like I met them right away. I did have to go through like rude neighbors for a while. And that just kind of sucked for me because, you know, I'm like 19, 18 years old and I'm like lonely. I'm bored in my house, and my neighbors that are in the same situation as me and we could relate to each other so much, they're just not welcoming, and that sucks. And like I think for me that was the first time I'm like, dang, like I thought the military was like family and all that, but no, it's not the case all the time. But you do eventually meet those friends. I just didn't meet them right away. And like I said, I was really depressed for like a whole year, so I literally wasn't myself. I didn't even know who that Priscilla was. And unfortunately I wasted a lot of time just moping around my apartment, crying all the time, like just, you know, going through the motions of that, when I should have just been out trying to meet new friends. So that's something I really would emphasize, is just for you to just get out of your comfort zone. Even if you're like super shy and timid, like you have to get out of your comfort zone. You need to get out of your apartment. You need to make a post on one of the Facebook pages for the base and just say like, does anyone want to hang out? Like, you know, just do that. Even if it's awkward, even if it's weird and it's just something you would never do, it helps, because I promise you there's someone else that's going to be living on base with you that is feeling the same exact way as you, and they're just desperate for a friend. And what sucked is because I like wasted a whole year basically being sad, I missed out on meeting my friend sooner than I had met her. So I did end up making a really, really good friend there, and we're still really good friends to this day. And what was just so annoying is because she was living right behind me in my apartment building. So she was like, I could literally see her house from one of my windows, and she was right there the whole time. But because I was just letting myself be sad, I didn't, you know, go out and make a friend, and she was right there the whole time. Like it's just so annoying that happened that way. But just don't waste your time. Like just ask a girl to go to lunch with you, ask her to go to the mall, ask her if she wants to come to your house and make brownies. Like it's not going to be like a smooth sailing friendship. It is going to be awkward, but you guys have to get over that so you can make a friend. Even just a side note of how I met my friend Kimberly that you guys have seen on this on one of my vlogs. I was a makeup artist on my base, so I had like my own home business, and that day it was one of my first photo shoots ever that I was going to work on, and Kimberly happened to be there, and she was one of the models for the photographer. And that's actually how we met. And it's like, can you imagine if I didn't go to that like photo shoot to do makeup? I would have never met Kimberly, and we would have never been friends, and I would have been in Florida right now by myself being super depressed and scared of the state. So it's just like, you guys have to go out and make those friends, just because you never know where that friendship's gonna lead. If you are a believer in God, I would say to find a church. That also helped me a lot. Me and Brandon found a church maybe about 6 months after moving to Japan. So it did take us a while, but the church we did find, it ended up being pretty much like our second family. And that was just pretty cool because the church was off base, and obviously there's a few military families that would go there, but there was actually a lot of Japanese locals that would come to church with us too. So I also got to meet and become friends with like the Japanese. Also, it's really important to learn to do things without your husband. Maybe you know that already, but for me, I didn't. I was very clingy towards Brandon, especially moving to Japan, and I feel like looking back, I put a lot of pressure on him to like keep me entertained and busy when he came home from work, and that wasn't fair. So I would say if you're like me and you were very clingy, you need to learn your independence. And so even though I just got done telling you guys all the positives about making friends, there obviously can be downsides to making friends. What I've learned, and I've learned this sometimes the hard way, is not everyone was raised like you. Not everyone thinks like you. Not everyone wants the same things out of friendships like you. So you do also sometimes do have to keep your guard up with people, and just, you know, I feel like we're not dumb. We have some type of discernment when it comes to things. So don't feel bad either if you do have to break friendships off. I've had to do that before. I've had to just straight up cut friendships off, no questions asked, we're done. And that might seem kind of harsh, but in the long run, I don't regret doing that, just because it kept my peace of mind and there just was no drama around me. Like, I'm the type of person that if I sense any type of drama, I cut it off. I think people call it like the gift of goodbye. I definitely have that gift. I'll just cut it off, like no emotions anymore. And maybe that might seem some fake to some people, but at the end of the day, I'm not there to make friends. I'm there to support my husband. There are wives who like to wear their husband's rank, and like all of that stuff can be very true, but for me, I didn't really see it too often because I didn't allow myself to be around those type of people. So I always say, like, a rule of thumb for me when I'm making a friend is if I notice that this person is always like talking about people, girl, you need to turn around and run the other way, because if they're quick to like talk about people that you don't even know with you, it's very easy probably for them to turn around and talk about you with other people. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just kind of like how I see things. If you are quick to gossip and talk crap about people, we can't be friends. I want to chill and have a good time and laugh. Like, I'm not trying to sit here and learn about people's business and all that. So next, I want to talk about just my experience in general living overseas. So obviously we were living in Japan, and I was living in Japan from when I was 18 until I was 22. I feel like that was the time in my life that I really did kind of grow up, and I feel like in Japan I really did mature a lot, because I was pretty immature when me and Brennan first got married. But I definitely feel like me and Brennan grew up a lot together in that country, and we just love Japan. Like, I feel like if you guys ever know us in real life, we'll talk about Japan any chance we get. But that country is truly, like, it's a beautiful country. The people there are just beautiful. Like, their values, their morals, beautiful. That's all I can say about them. Just amazing people. If you are someone who is closed-minded, I don't think you're meant to be overseas and, you know, moving to different countries, because I met so many people too that were super closed-minded. They refused to go off base. They didn't want to talk to the people. They didn't want to try the Japanese food. They just stayed on base all day complaining, and those type of people too you need to stay away from, because I couldn't relate to that. I love Japan. I wanted to get out and learn about the place. I wanted to get on the trains and go into the city and go into Tokyo and try different foods. I feel like because of Japan, I love Indian food now. I never thought I would like, not that I never liked it, but I never tried Indian food in Colorado. So now me and Brandon, we love Indian food. That's one of our favorite foods. And, you know, obviously trying like ramen and Coco's, the curry, and just different things like that. I think they would have, one of our favorites was yakiniku, and that's like where it's not like Korean barbecue, but you cook the meat in front of you, and it was just fun experiences that you'll never get in America, obviously. So that opened my eyes up to just see, like, you know, it's like other people live so differently from us, and it was just really cool to experience for 3 years. I definitely missed that so much. All me and Brandon did was he would work Monday to Friday, and then once Friday night to Sunday rolled around, we were, you know, out on the trains eating, having fun, and just me and him always miss that. It's like such a sad, nostalgic feeling whenever we think about all the fun we had in Japan. Just try to make the best of it and have fun. Find out what the locals like to do, and just go out and do that, because it might seem like 2 to 3 years is a long time, but by the time you are coming near the end of your tour overseas, you're just like, no, like, let's rewind time. Let's go back and have some more fun, because that's definitely how me and Brandon felt. We were not ready to leave Japan, and it was really sad when we left, but nonetheless we still enjoyed our 3 years there. So I just say, just have fun, get out of your comfort zone, do things you never thought you'd do, try new food, don't be annoying and just only order chicken tenders and fries. And if that's you, I'm calling you out. Don't be that person. Just try something new, and I promise you won't regret it. And if you don't like it, at least you can say you tried it. We got to travel a lot on the trains, so that was fun, and that was kind of first really confusing to learn, but, you know, me and Brenda ended up getting it down, and it was just fun to like just hop on a train and go like 30 minutes into Tokyo, and you're in Harajuku or Shinjuku, like, you know, those famous cities that you hear about. We would be there. We would be at the famous crossing that was in Tokyo Drift for Fast and the Furious, and like, you know, I got to see all those things, and because of the military, I was able to experience all of that with my best friend, my husband. So I really do like the military, like, besides the fact that, you know, we have help when it comes to medical coverage and just, you know, things along that line. It's just the experiences that you get for free from the military, and for that I'm eternally grateful for it, because there was a time in my life I never thought I would even leave Colorado. So to say, like, you know, we lived in Japan, I got to visit Okinawa, I got stuck in Korea, just little stories like that, I'm thankful for. But I might end the video here. I hope that this video was a little helpful for you guys. Just, kind of giving you like, again, my background of like how we got married so young and just my experience living overseas. And if we ever got the chance, Lord, if you hear me, we would definitely want to go back to Japan. That's just definitely somewhere I will always hold close to my heart. It's a beautiful country. And I always say, if you guys want to go, if you get married and you want to go on a honeymoon, even if you're not in the military, go to Japan. Don't go to Hawaii. Don't go to anywhere. Go to Japan and have fun. That country is just so cool. But I'm gonna stop rambling now. I hope that this video helped you guys, and if you guys have any questions at all, just leave them down below and I will be happy to answer them. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I usually do videos like this, or I do videos about being a mom with toddlers and being a mom with twins. I like to do clean with me videos and just follow me around for the day, or just simple vlogs. So if that's stuff that you're into, just go ahead and click that subscribe button and we can be best friends. But until then, I will see you guys later. Bye.